Just off of last week's State of the State address, Governor Josh Green joins us now to share what he's working on during the new legislative session. Aloha and good morning, Governor. Thanks for stopping by with us.
Aloha, Sam.
So you just opened your 18th Kauhale Village, this one in Waianae. What do you feel like these are doing to help your fight against homelessness?
Well, they're reducing homelessness. They're also changing the way we deal with homelessness. So putting a roof over a person's head decreases their cost 75%, which means society has more money to invest in other projects, other housing projects, other Kauhale. By the end of our term in 26, we'll have 30 Kauhale up and going, and that should be between 1,500 and 1,800 people. So you see a lot of suffering drop, and you see a lot of cost drop, and it should be a national example of how things should work elsewhere.
Speaking of cost drop, one thing you hit on heavy during the State of the State address is affordability, the cost of living here. One of those is affordable housing. What are you working on for this legislative session for 2025?
So it was interesting, we got a little bit of criticism for not just throwing out, kind of high muckety-muck statements and aspirational statements. I actually view it the other way. I think people deserve action and results. So the idea is to build enough houses for our people. We will get to, it looks like between 13,000 and 16,000 new houses in our first term. We will also be able to decrease costs because of the huge tax break we put into place. So it's that combo. Build more houses so there's more inventory, because 37% of all of people's earnings and income go towards housing. It's too much. People can't afford it. And then decrease taxes. We go from I believe it's the second highest to the fourth lowest taxed state over the course of these years till 2031. So that's the approach, which is our values are to make it affordable to live in Hawaii, and then we can lead by example with this kind of very, very, very diverse population, ethnically diverse, economically diverse, and kind society. So my job is to make it affordable here, and it will take a little time, but it's happening.
One of the things you also got into is public safety following the Iliumanu fireworks tragedy. What have you learned about the illegal fireworks trade, and how can you apply that to keeping those out of our state?
Well, it's a big challenge because on the demand side, which is to say the people who love fireworks, which we all love fireworks, but the demand side to buy aerials, it's extremely high. The supply side meets that. So illegal importation of fireworks occurs. People are making 5 times their money when they smuggle them in. And so it's human nature to do that. But I have to humbly ask people to not do that, because what we saw on New Year's Eve was a terrible accident take the lives of 4 beautiful people and critically injure 20 others. We have to stop doing this. So we've learned we can crack down on it a little bit, but it's going to have to be us, we as citizens, that simply don't go to illegal fireworks shows, don't buy them from other people off the black market, go to the big public shows that we can put on. We have a new director of the Department of Law Enforcement who is going to be working on this very carefully. And the last one did a good job, too. They collected over 240,000 pounds of illegal fireworks, but it has to be even better. But only if we as members of society decide not to do this will we succeed.
When it comes to fireworks, obviously we have the aerials. This is a county-by-county law system. Would you be in favor of things like sparklers, et cetera, being legal, being that they do pose somewhat of a fireworks risk as far as fires go?
Yeah, I'm not too worried about the small fireworks. We can handle those. It's the big ones. I mean, we had thousands and thousands of shows. And if, God forbid, we see other fires like Lahaina because of the fireworks, the aerials that go up, we'll never be able to keep our people safe. There's just no way. We'll see mass fires, all throughout January. And I worry that we'll see fires the magnitude, not just of Lahaina, but what we've seen in Los Angeles, too. There's even some early concern that fireworks may have caused some of the fires and caused the embers in Los Angeles. We just can't do that. So there's a lot of big moves that we're making on fire safety. Knock wood, we had a very good season last year because we put in extra sensors, extra weather, data. We put in a lot of big fire breaks around land. We're doing a lot of amazing things, frankly, to decrease the fire risk. But, of course, we already endured a tragedy. So I'm trying to go out and when I go to whether it's D.C. or Miami or L.A. or wherever, I try to share this experience. Because everyone benefits if we in Hawaii export good ideas and lessons learned.
Speaking of going to D.C., you are headed there tonight. What do you want to say to Congress?
Well, I'll be talking to the Senate directly, but also some of the House members. In this particular case, and I'm going there more as a doctor than a governor, although I guess it's hard to separate them. I'm trying to tell them, look, the president is the president. Of course, I respect that, and I really do. When presidents are elected by the population, that's the rule of law. However, RFK Jr., his appointment as HHS secretary is a terrible move for Democrats and Republicans and independents and everybody who's not political in between. RFK Jr. has been profiting to the tunes of millions of dollars to use misinformation to block vaccination programs. Millions and millions and millions of dollars. He didn't even come clean on that. And then the experience I had when we went as medical missionaries to Samoa and had to vaccinate 37,000 people, we saw that his misinformation campaign killed 83 people, many of whom were children. In fact, most of whom were children. That's exactly what we will see in rural areas in America. And I'm trying to explain, for the good of the president, for the good of the Senate, for the good of the Congress, for the good of our families, don't put a person like that in the pole position at HHS. Put someone else. President Trump should pick, I'm sure, someone of his same ideology. That's okay, but not this guy. This guy actually will hurt people. It'll damage the National Institute of Health. It damages infectious disease research. They've already stopped communicating public information on healthcare. Everyone should be worried. When people tell you not to look at information, that means they're hiding terrible things, and that is just bad. So I'm going there to humbly ask the Republican senators to join all of the Democratic senators to just don't vote for him. Put in people that are going to use science. Put in people that have public health experience. Put in people that will help protect our families and do well for us as Americans. And because I'm the only, physician governor, spend 2 days there and I'll fly back and do work in between online. But I'll tell you, this is a really serious situation. And if it goes wrong and RFK becomes the Health and Human Services Secretary, we're going to see a lot of illness, measles, mumps, rubella, polio. And these are very serious diseases that I don't want our families to deal with.
We've already seen a decline in some vaccination rates across the country. And finally, any update on the new Aloha Stadium?
Yeah, so I'm meeting privately with some benefactors to see if they would help us fund additional resources. We have $400 million. Honestly, we'd do better to have somewhere between $600 and $800 million at least to build a beautiful stadium that has a roof, that can bring extra concerts, that can bring extra Olympic trials and so on. So I've had some very good conversations, and hopefully in the next couple months I can announce that. I've also met with the people that do these programs, these entertainment districts across the country, and they're very excited about doing it in Honolulu. They've done this kind of thing in partnership with good developers like Mr. Carr, who's our guy. But they've done it in Baltimore, they've done it in Texas, they've done it in California and Vegas. They know how to do this kind of thing, and I want to bring positive events and entertainment to our next generation. So fingers crossed we'll get something great.
We've had some big events lately. Nice to think about what could potentially be in the future with the new Aloha Stadium. Governor Green, thank you so much for stopping by with us. Safe travels tonight.
Thank you very much.
Aloha.